I've worked at Meridian Tech for 7 years, and tonight I'm either getting fired or getting justice. Maybe both. I stared at the thumb drive in my hand, small, black, unassuming, but what it contained would either ruin my career or save it. My hands trembled slightly as I slipped it into my pocket. The annual corporate gala was starting in 2 hours, and every executive would be there, including Derek, the man who stole my invention and was being celebrated for it tonight. My name is Michael Chen. I'm not special, just a senior developer who believed in playing by the rules, until the rules stopped working for me. 3 months ago, I was pulling late nights in the lab, perfecting a compression algorithm that could revolutionize our cloud storage platform. Not just an incremental improvement, we're talking 40% better efficiency. In our industry, that's like discovering gold. I called it pulse compress because it worked in rhythmic data pulses rather than traditional blocks. I kept detailed logs, video journals, documentation of every breakthrough and setback, old habits from my engineering days. The project wasn't officially sanctioned. I worked on it during my personal time, using company resources with my manager's verbal approval. That was my first mistake. Derek Winters joined our team 6 months ago. Ivy League MBA, perfect hair, expensive suits. He was brought in as our new product director, and from day one he was hunting for a big win, something to justify his salary and set him up for the next promotion. We weren't friends, but we were cordial. He often stopped by my workstation, asking questions about ongoing projects. I didn't mind. Knowledge sharing was part of our culture, or so I thought. The night everything changed, most people had left the office. I was running final tests on pulse compress when Derek appeared behind me. Still here, Michael? Dedication. I like it. I jumped, just wrapping up some personal work. He leaned closer to my screen. This looks interesting. Mind sharing? Pride made me careless. I explained the basics, showed him the performance metrics. His eyes widened slightly, the only genuine reaction I'd ever seen from him. Impressive, he said. Have you told anyone upstairs about this? Not officially. Was planning to present it next week when it's fully tested. He nodded, patted my shoulder. Smart. Let me know if you need any help positioning it. 2 days later, I received an urgent summons to the executive floor. I thought maybe word of my project had spread. In a way, it had. I entered the conference room to find our CEO, CTO, and 3 VPs seated around the table, and Derek standing at the front with my slides, my data on the screen behind him. Ah, Michael, our CEO said. Come in. Derek was just walking us through his new compression technology. Pulse compress, right? Fascinating stuff. The floor seemed to drop from under me. I stood frozen as Derek smoothly continued his presentation. My presentation. My work. He'd taken everything, even the name. The potential revenue impact is substantial, Derek was saying. I estimate $30 million in the first year alone, plus significant competitive advantage. I finally found my voice. There's been a mistake. Pulse Compress is my project. I developed it over the past 3 months. The room went silent, all eyes turned to me, then to Derek, who didn't even flinch. Michael's a valuable team member, he said smoothly. He helped with some of the implementation coding. But Pulse Compress has been my initiative from conception. I have the project plans to prove it. I stared at him in disbelief. That's not true. I have documentation. Our CTO cut me off. Michael, if you have concerns, we can discuss them later. Let's not derail this meeting. I felt sick, betrayed, but I nodded and took a seat, my mind racing. I knew I could prove ownership. I just needed time to gather my evidence. But Derek was always one step ahead. By the time I returned to my desk, my access to the project repository had been revoked. My local backup drive was missing from my drawer, and an email from IT informed me that my workstation would be re-imaged due to security concerns. They were erasing my work, erasing my proof. I went to my direct manager, Sarah. She'd known I was working on something, but I'd never officially registered the project. It's your word against his, she said, genuine regret in her eyes. And he has documentation with his name on it, plus executive support. He forged those documents, I insisted. The timestamps will prove it. Michael, she said gently, Derek's being fast-tracked for VP. The executives love him. Think carefully about how you want to handle this. She was right. I was a developer. He was management's golden boy. In corporate politics, that matchup only ends one way. For 2 weeks, I watched as Derek became the company's rising star. Press releases went out about Pulse Compress. Our stock price jumped, and Derek received a special commendation from the board, along with a promotion to Vice President of Innovation. Meanwhile, I was quietly moved to a legacy maintenance team. No explanation given, just a calendar invite for a team reassignment discussion. I considered quitting. I updated my resume. I even had a few interviews lined up. But something kept me from pulling the trigger. The injustice burned too deeply. Then I remembered something Derek couldn't possibly know about. My home security system. I had installed cameras throughout my apartment last year after a break-in, including one in my home office that automatically backed up footage to cloud storage. And I had brought work home. A lot. That night, I dug through months of footage. Hours of me working on Pulse Compress at my desk, talking through problems aloud, writing code on my personal machine that I later transferred to work. But the smoking gun came from 3 months earlier. Me excitedly telling my girlfriend about my new algorithm idea. The date stamp clearly visible. 2 months before Derek even joined the company. I had proof. Irrefutable, time-stamped, third-party verified proof. The question was, how to use it. I could go to HR, but they reported to the same executives who were now championing Derek. I could hire a lawyer, but corporate litigation would drain my savings and take years. Then the company-wide email arrived. Meridian Tech's annual Innovation Gala was happening next week. The highlight of the evening, Derek would be presenting Pulse Compress to our biggest clients and investors. The technology that would define Meridian's future. And I knew exactly what I had to do. The next week was the longest of my life. I compiled my evidence meticulously. I edited the video footage down to a devastating 5-minute presentation. I practiced what I would say, and I waited. The night of the gala arrived. The Grand Meridian Hotel ballroom was transformed with blue and silver decorations, company colors, open bar, seafood towers, the works. I wore my best suit, arrived early, smiled at colleagues who barely made eye contact. They all knew I'd been demoted after Derek's rise. Corporate pariah by association. Our CEO took the stage at 8 p.m. sharp, standard platitudes about innovation and market leadership. Then came the moment. And now, the man behind our most exciting breakthrough in years, the creator of Pulse Compress and our newest Vice President of Innovation, Derek Winters. Applause thundered through the room as Derek took the stage, confident as ever. He launched into his presentation, my presentation, with practiced charm. The slides appeared on the massive screen behind him. Pulse Compress began with a simple question, he said. What if data could breathe? My line, my exact words from months ago. I moved quietly toward the AV booth at the back of the ballroom. The technician was a guy named Marco who'd helped me set up demos many times before. Hey Mike, what's up? He whispered as Derek continued on stage. I showed him my badge. Need a quick system check before my segment. He looked confused. You're not on the program. Last minute addition. I lied. Can I see if my presentation loads correctly? Don't want to interrupt the flow. He hesitated, then shrugged. Sure, but make it quick. I plugged my thumb drive into the system, located my video file. Didn't play it, just confirmed it was ready. Thanks, I said. It'll be right after Derek's Q&A. CEO knows about it. Another lie, but Marco just nodded and turned back to the controls. On stage, Derek was wrapping up. And that's how Pulse Compress will transform our industry. Any questions? Several hands went up. I waded through 3 softball questions from executives who already knew the answers. Then Derek pointed to someone in the back. Last question. I raised my hand higher. Derek's eyes found mine, and for just a moment, I saw uncertainty flicker across his face. But he recovered quickly and nodded to me. Michael, what's your question? I stood. The room fell silent. Everyone knew who I was, the demoted developer, the has-been. Not a question, I said clearly, more of a demonstration. I nodded to Marco, who looked confused but followed my gaze to the computer. Understanding dawned on his face as he saw the file I'd queued up. I don't think, he started. Trust me, I said quietly. You'll want to see this too. He hesitated, then pressed play. The screen behind Derek changed. Instead of his final slide, my face appeared. Date stamp clearly visible. 3 months before Derek joined Meridian. Project Journal, Day 1, my recorded self said. I'm calling it Pulse Compress. The basic concept is this. What if data could breathe? Derek spun around, staring at the screen in horror. The room erupted in murmurs. The video continued, snippets of me working on the algorithm over months. Test results, coding sessions, all predating Derek's employment. Then came the final clip. Derek in my office that night, looking over my shoulder. The audio was crystal clear. This looks incredible, Michael. Is this your project? Yes, been working on it for months. Have you told anyone upstairs yet? No, not officially. Derek lunged toward the stage controls. There's been a mistake. This is... But our CTO was faster. He stood up, his face thunderous. Leave it, he commanded. Let it play. The room was dead silent now. Every executive, every investor, every colleague watching as my proof unfolded on screen. Derek stood frozen on stage, his perfect composure shattered. When the video ended, I walked slowly to the front of the room. All eyes followed me. I took a deep breath and faced the crowd. Pulse Compress is my creation. Every line of code, every concept, every breakthrough. I have 7 years of loyal service to Meridian. I've never asked for special recognition, but I cannot and will not stand by while someone else takes credit for my work. I turned to face our CEO directly. I'm not asking for Derek's job. I'm just asking for the truth to be acknowledged. The silence that followed felt eternal. Then our CEO stood up. His face was unreadable as he walked to the stage. Derek, he said quietly, my office, first thing tomorrow. Derek started to protest, but the CEO raised his hand. Not another word. Then he turned to me. Michael, you too, 9 a.m. That was it. No dramatic firing, no public vindication, just a quiet, we'll deal with this tomorrow. The gala continued awkwardly. People avoided both Derek and me. I didn't stay long, just enough to accept a few quiet, good-for-you comments from colleagues who'd suspected the truth all along. I barely slept that night. By morning, I'd convinced myself I was about to be fired for disrupting the gala. Corporate politics always protected people like Derek. I was just the troublemaker now. I arrived at the CEO's office at 8:55 a.m. Derek was already there, sitting stiffly in one of the visitor chairs. He didn't look at me when I entered. Our CEO, James Wilson, was on the phone. He held up one finger, finished his call, then studied us both for an uncomfortable moment. I've spent the night reviewing evidence, he finally said, and speaking with our legal team. My stomach dropped. Here it comes. Derek, Wilson continued, your employment with Meridian Technologies is terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you to collect your personal items. Derek's face went white. You can't be serious over one misunderstanding? The clients love Pulse Compress. The board has been briefed, Wilson cut in. This isn't about Pulse Compress. It's about integrity. We've discovered you've misrepresented your contributions on 3 other projects since joining us. This pattern is unacceptable. Derek stood abruptly. You'll be hearing from my attorney. Wilson remained calm. I expected as much. Our legal team is prepared. After Derek was escorted out, Wilson turned to me. As for you, Michael, I braced myself. Your methods were unorthodox. Disrupting our premier client event was a risk. I tried the proper channels, I said quietly. He nodded. I know. We failed you there. The system failed you. He stood and extended his hand. Pulse Compress will be properly credited to you effective immediately, and I'd like to offer you the position of Director of Engineering Innovation, with a compensation package to match. I stared at him in disbelief. Just like that? Nothing about this is just like that. You've earned it the hard way. And frankly, we can't afford to lose you to a competitor, especially now that everyone knows what you're capable of. 2 weeks later, I stood on the same stage where Derek had tried to claim my work, this time addressing the engineering department as their new director. Innovation isn't just about breakthrough ideas, I told them. It's about integrity, about creating a culture where credit goes where it's deserved and everyone's contribution matters. I introduced the newly formed Innovation Attribution System, my first initiative as director, a transparent process ensuring every contributor to a project received proper credit. Pulse Compress taught us a valuable lesson, I concluded. Great ideas can come from anywhere in the organization, but only if people feel safe sharing them. The changes didn't stop there. Over the following months, Meridian underwent a cultural transformation. The hierarchical approval system that had blocked so many good ideas was dismantled. Cross-functional teams were empowered to pursue promising concepts without executive pre-approval. As for Derek, I heard he landed at a smaller competitor 6 months later. Lower position, of course. His reputation had taken a serious hit after the video made rounds in industry circles. But the real victory wasn't watching Derek fall. It was seeing my name on the patent application for Pulse Compress. It was hearing clients refer to Chen's algorithm in meetings. It was knowing that the next developer with a brilliant idea wouldn't have to fight the same battle I did. 1 year after the Gala incident, Pulse Compress had exceeded even the most optimistic projections. Revenue was up 45%, our stock had doubled, and I received the company's first Innovation Excellence Award, a new tradition I'd helped establish. The plaque sits on my desk now, not as a trophy but as a reminder that standing up for the truth matters, that evidence speaks louder than office politics, and that sometimes justice comes not from following the rules, but from having the courage to break them when they no longer serve what's right. My home security camera still runs 24/7. Old habits die hard, but these days I'm not worried about protecting my ideas. I'm focused on helping others bring theirs to life. Because the most valuable innovation isn't a compression algorithm or a software breakthrough. It's a workplace where honesty is rewarded, credit is given where due, and no one has to resort to dramatic measures just to be recognized for their work. That's the real legacy of Pulse Compress, and it's worth far more than any promotion.